everyone. Please repeat after me. We're going to do a few echo patterns before we get into our hello song. So, so, mi. So, so, la. La, so, mi. Mi, re, do. Do, mi, re. And put hello boys and girls, hello Mr. Giles, and hello Miss Skinner all together. Here we go. Hello boys and hello girls, hello Mr. Giles, hello Miss Skinner. Alright, so today we are going to talk more about the staff. And one of the ways to help us memorize our lines and spaces is by learning a song. Last video, we learned the song, The Staff Has 5. So we're going to go ahead and redo the song and visit it again. So, just to jog our memories, this is how the song goes. Staff has 5, it has 5 lines. E, G, B, D, F, E, G, B, D, F. In between each line, there lies a F-A-C-E, it spells the word face. Now we're going to break it up into chunks just to help jog our memory. So repeat after me. The staff has 5, it has 5 lines. E, G, B, D, F, E, G, B, D, F. F-A-C-E, it spells the word face. Alright, if you would like to, you could go back and rewind to sing the song one more time. We're going to move on and talk about another tool to help us learn our lines and spaces. So another tool we can use is our hand staff. We have 5 fingers. So that gives us 5 different lines we can learn. And in between, we have our spaces. So we have E, G, B, D, and F, and F, A, C, and E. So here is another tool we can use to help us memorize our lines and spaces. Now we are going to go ahead and look at some more words. There was a little confusion last time over how to do this assignment. So I just wanted to break it down a little bit more and help you guys understand it. So, when looking at our words, we read our notes from left to right, just how we read a book or write sentences. So when looking at our notes, we always start with our leftmost note, even though it may not be the highest or lowest. So looking at this example, we see that this note right here is our leftmost note. So we're going to start with it. We're going to notice that it is on a space. So when we look at it, we're going to count up our spaces. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to come over here to our space staff, and we're going to count up 3. 1, 2, 3. We see that this space is called C. So this note must be a C. So I'm going to write a C right there, just to help me remember that that note is C. Now we're going to come over to our next leftmost note, which is this guy right here. he is also on a space. So we're going to count up 2. 1, 2. We're going to go over to our space staff and also count up 2. 1, 2. And we see that he is on an F. Or an A. My bad. A is right there. So I'm going to put an A right next to the C. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to my next note, which happens to be the last one. He is on a line. So instead of looking at my spaces, I'm going to look up at my lines and count up. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to come over here. 1, 2, 3. And he is on the B line. So he is a B. And then I have my 3 letter note names. And they spell C-A-B, which is cab. And that is that one. So let's go ahead and look at another example. Here is another one. Again, we are going to start with our leftmost note, and it's going to be this guy right here. The height of the note does not matter. We'll always read from left to right. So he is on a line. So he's going to be on the first line. I come over to my lines, and I see that that is an E. So I'm going to go ahead and write an E. All right. Then I'm going to come over to my next note, which is this guy right here. He's also on a line. He's going to be on the 4th line. So I can come over to my lines, and I can go E, G, B, and D. So he is on the D. So my next letter is a D. I come over to my next note, which is this one. Remember, the height of the pitch does not matter. We always read left to right. So he is going to be on the 2nd line. I come over here. 1, 2. That is a G. So I write G next to it. And my final note is going to be this one right here. He's going to be on the 4th space. So I count up 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Come over to my spaces. I see that it's an E. There we go. So this word right here is the word edge. So what you guys are going to be doing this week in Schoology is something similar, but it's a little different. There we go. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to find, we're going to give you the word, but you guys are going to tell us which staff matches the best. So let's go ahead and look at that. We have our first letter, a B, and we read from left to right, just like we do in reading. So we start with the B. I'm going to pull out the hand staff to help us out. And we remember from our song that a B shows up in our lines. We have E, G, and B. Our B is going to be on the 3rd line. So we can look at our staffs. We can see that this one starts with the letter B because he is on the 3rd line. This one also is going to start with the letter B because he is on our 3rd line. This one as well will start with the letter B because he's on the 3rd line. However, this one right here will not start with the letter B because this first note is not on the 3rd line. So we can just X him off. He is not the staff we are looking for. So our next note, our next letter is the letter E. Now there are 2 different E's that show up in our song. There's an E on our lines and an E with our spaces. So the first E is our first line, E. In the song we go E, G, B, D, F. First one is E. And the second E can show up with our spaces, F, A, C, and E. So an E can be on the first line or the 4th space. So let's go ahead and look at our choices. When coming over here, we're going to look at the 2nd note because we read from left to right. Over here, we see that this note is not on the first space, or the first line or the 4th space. He is on the 2nd space, which is an A. That's an A. So he is not correct. Our next note, our next staff is going to have a note on the first line, which will be an E. So he is still in the running. And then our final staff in consideration is also on the first line, which is an E. So we have 2 staffs left. Now our final note is also the letter E, but our word only has 3 notes in it. One of these choices has 4 notes. So we can eliminate the choice with 4 notes because our word only has 3 letters. So the correct answer is going to be this staff right there. So in Schoology, you guys are going to be doing the exact same thing. We're going to give you the word, and you guys are going to tell us which staff is correct. Since Veterans Day is coming up, we would like to share with you guys some patriotic music. The song that we are going to be talking about today is the Star-Spangled Banner, or our national anthem. So the Star-Spangled Banner was written by a man named Francis Scott Key in 1814. However, it did not become our national anthem until 1931. Francis Scott Key wrote the lyrics after witnessing Fort McHenry bombarded for 25 hours. That means the fort was attacked for 25 hours straight. Our American flag was still standing afterwards. The melody comes from a song called the Anacreontic Song. It was written in 1775. So Key took the melody to that song and added the lyrics to create our national anthem. Now we would like to share with you guys a performance of the original Star-Spangled Banner that was written in 1814.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We just listened to verse 1 of the national anthem. However, there are 4 verses all together. If you guys would like to listen to the entire thing, we will link the performance down below, and you guys can listen to it whenever you like.
I wanted to talk to you guys about middle school electives because at the beginning of December, you're gonna have a visit from the Briscoe counselors that are gonna talk about what's available to you as 6th graders at Briscoe Middle School. Now, I'm gonna keep throwing out Briscoe Middle School because the way it's slated is everyone from our school, unless you know that you're going to move, goes from here to Briscoe Middle School. Now, a lot of the other middle schools in Northside have the same electives, so I'm gonna talk about them. If you're going to someplace outside of Northside, you'll have to follow up with how it works there. But at Briscoe, you're going to have 5 choices for an elective. An elective is something that you're going to go to every single day. So right now, you go to art once every 8 days. If you choose art in middle school, that'll be something you go to every day. Same thing with band, choir, orchestra, and theater arts. What I would like to do is give you a little bit of information about each one of these electives. That way, when the Briscoe counselors come to talk to you guys, you can make an informed decision about which one is the best fit for you. So art. Right now, Miss Jeffries has the opportunity to see you guys once every 8 days. That's not very much. So you do have the chance to complete art projects, but not as many or as detailed as you could if you went to art every single day. Now you do get the same types of projects, whether that's clay, painting, drawing, and so on, But since you get to go every day, it gets to be a lot more detailed, and you get to spend time making more and bigger projects. When it comes to band, band is the biggest program at Briscoe, so big that they actually have 3 teachers that teach band. Now, when we talked about the symphony last year as 4th graders here, we talked about the percussion, the strings, the woodwind, and the brass family. Now, band is going to be just woodwind, brass, and percussion. Strings is going to be saved for orchestra, and we'll get to that one in a minute. With band, it's a little bit different than the other electives. All of the other electives you just sign up for. Band's a tiny bit different. For that one, you actually are going to have to go to Briscoe to try out an instrument. Now, there's 2 different things. There's a tryout and the audition. We're talking about tryouts right now. Tryout means that you're going to have a chance to try out the instrument. You get to hold it, you get to play with it, you get to see if your hands fit around it. That's what the tryout's going to be. The tryout is to see what instrument works best for your body. Even though your heart might be set on one instrument, you might not be able to hold it. Your hands might not be able to stretch to cover all the holes. Your mouth might not be able to work on the mouthpiece. So with band, your body's going to help determine the type of instrument that you play when you go to try out. Now, tryouts are only for the brass and the woodwind family. The percussion family is going to be where you audition. When they do the auditions for band, they're going to ask you to sing something and play it back. They're going to ask you to clap different patterns and things like that. They're looking for rhythmic accuracy because percussion is a really, really tough group to be a part of. So tryouts, you're automatically getting to try out an instrument, and the one that works best for your body, you get to do. Percussion, not everybody gets to do percussion. That's an audition process, and they'll tell you yes or no based on your rhythmic ability. Now, if you're really wanting to be in band and you can't be in percussion, you could still be a woodwind or a brass player. And they'll talk to you a lot more about that. They send out lots of information to make sure you're prepared for that. And as soon as Mr. Flores sends that over, I'll make sure you guys get that. Choir is going to be a singing group. With choir, you can sing in English or in other languages. You sing with a whole group, or you could sing solos. You could sing with a piano or instruments, or it could be just voices. Choir is going to be open to all 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, just like all of the other electives. This one, she kind of separates you though. You're gonna have a men's choir and a women's choir when you move into 6th grade, because as we go into 6th grade, boys' voices start to change, and we're not able to match exactly with the girls anymore like we do right now. So moving in, there'll be a men's choir and a women's choir for 6th grade, if you choose choir as your elective. Orchestra also has a whole bunch of different instruments, just like band. That's the violin, the viola, the cello, and the bass. If you choose orchestra, you're going to have a chance to choose which instrument you want to play. You have a lot more choice than you do with band. Band, remember, your body's going to help determine what instrument you play. Orchestra, you get a little bit more say. The only thing that's tricky about this is the orchestra director has to make sure that all of the sections are balanced. There are 4 sections altogether. Once again, the violin, violas, cellos, and basses. She can't have 45 basses in one violin. So of course, she's gonna wanna balance that out a little bit, but you do have a lot more say here, and those instruments come in different sizes. No matter how big or small you are, they can find an instrument that will fit you. The last one down here is theater arts. Theater arts is gonna be dedicated to working on plays and musicals. And what's really interesting is that they do a great big huge musical every year, and they pull people from choir and from band and orchestra and art to make that happen. So the people in art will make the posters, a lot of people from choir will come and help sing the parts, and so on. So when you go into middle school, you only get one choice, only one, and it's art, band, choir, orchestra, or theater arts, and you have to choose the one that's best for you. When we make choices, I always stress to the kids moving to middle school, don't choose something that your friend is doing, choose something that you're interested in doing. After all, if you choose choir, the choir director gets to see 7 to 8 classes in one day. Even though your friend chose to be in choir too, you might not even be in the same class as them. So please make sure you choose something you're interested in. That way, when you're in there for the entire school year, you're happy with your choice. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me for questions regarding band, orchestra, choir, and theater arts. Ms. Jeffries would be the best one to reach to ask questions about art if you're interested in art. So you can either message us in Schoology or you can shoot us an email. Your parents, if they have a question, they can also message us in Schoology or message us through our email, and we'll be happy to help you guys out. We know that moving from elementary school to middle school can be a little scary sometimes, especially if you have to choose in December what you're going to do next August. So please reach out to any of the teachers if you have any questions or concerns.